Welcome back to Movified. My name is Mark Hirschi, the owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage located in Vancouver, British Columbia. And we're here at the Moving Titan Retreat located in Tampa, Florida for an exciting 3-day event. And I get to sit down with some of the most inspirational moving company owners there are around. And today I have the pleasure of having Larry Tul from Gentle Giant Moving Company. Thank you, Larry, for sitting on here. We really appreciate it. Larry said he's going to keep his answers short. I don't believe him, but all I want to do is pick his brain for a little bit. So for those listeners that don't know, Larry, where are you guys based out of?
We're based in Boston, Massachusetts.
And how many locations do you have?
26.
26 locations all across.
Well, half of them are in New England and the others are outside of New England.
Okay. And out of those 26 locations, do you find that where was that big growth? Like, what was that year when you said, okay, from, we're good set up in Boston, we're moving down that East Coast. You decided with your team to go, hey, let's get across America.
Well, quite honestly, we weren't thinking about growth. We were just thinking about, we wanted to get into interstate and we didn't want to have casual labor showing up at the other end of our jobs. So by having offices at other part of the country, we could guarantee our customers that they would only have our employees. So we were really opening offices for that reason, and they could start out rather modestly. We just needed to know there were people there when we needed them, and we were going to those locations and just see what happened. And they obviously developed their own local business, but when we schedule an interstate job into the area, we put it on their docket.
And what year did Gentle Giant, when did you originate with that company?
Well, the first move I did was in May of 1980. But back then, I didn't think I was going to start a moving company. I just thought I was going to do a little bit of moving with my roommate's van to pay the rent while I got a manufacturing business off the ground, which never happened.
Gotcha. What was your passion before that? What did you want to do?
Well, I was an engineer. And I love engineering, and I really enjoyed it. I got into engineering because I scored really high on math and did really good at those subjects. But I wouldn't have called it a passion at the time. I would have been more passionate about the arts, actually. But I figured that bird had flown, so here I am, I'm an engineer.
Hey, moving owners, if you're not at the top of Google, your competitors are taking the calls and book jobs that should be going to you. You're at war with them, and they are winning because they rank higher than you on Google. At Rotate Digital, we use the perfect blend of AI, secret blog networks, and moving industry SEO experts to make sure your business dominates Google in your area. We go to war online for you so that every Google search turns into your new customer and not your competitors. Stop losing to your competition and become the go-to moving titan in your area. Visit RotateDigital.com today to see who's outranking you and take the next step to booking more jobs from Google.
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about Tighten Up training. Why? Because this is Netflix-grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up training yet, get a demo done, get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up training today.
Right. Gotcha. When I think back of, starting a moving company in the 80s, we were just talking before, the regulations and maybe the cowboy era of how things were ran maybe in the 80s and 90s as opposed to now. Do you find that regulations have drastically changed over the time period, or have they lined up a little bit? or could you get away with a lot more back then?
Once I decided that we're going to be, I'm going to start a moving company for real. I mean, when I committed to it, took on a partner that was going to handle the financial end of the business, we were going to follow the rules and we weren't going to do any cowboy nonsense. We were going to play by the book, and I've never had a problem with it.
Which is also part of your culture. And I think that's one of the things you touched on one of the panels,
Right.
is having a strong culture within the company. Can you touch on that a little bit of like, what were some of the fundamentals with you and your partners that you sat down and says, look, if we're going to have a moving company, this is what we need to do to make sure that everybody's following it, but that there's a strong culture in.
Well, to be honest, we didn't really talk about culture or anything like that. We just had one business plan, and that was just hire great people. Just hire hardworking people with a great work ethic who were enthusiastic and basically nice people. People that you're going to spend a day working with them, you're going to be sitting in a truck with them, you're going to be with them all day. You're going to want to look forward to it. You're going to want to have a good time, and you're going to want to have fun. And everyone that I can think of that I worked with back then had a great sense of humor. But, you bust your butt for the customer. And also, you had a lot of fun with your customers. You included them. I always tell movers, look, if you're going to talk about sports, first of all, if you're going to do it in front of the customer, make sure they're on the same page. They may hate baseball or football. Shut up. Keep that out in the truck. And the same goes with humor. Don't be having fun unless it includes the customer. They should be in on the joke. Customers get uncomfortable if you're laughing. They don't know if you're laughing at them. You want to be, and also we have a lot of people that English isn't their first language, but they're only going to speak English in front of the customer. Don't be speaking a foreign language in front of the customer. So you always include the customer. So when you talk about culture, it evolved from the people we had.
Right. Which is amazing. Now, when you talk about finding the right people, I heard you mention that, even on the moving side of things, you would find like sport athletes at universities that were coming out there. What were some of the things that you guys were doing to find them? Like, were you just, hey, you look fit, can you come and work for us? Or, what was some of the staff or yourself doing to bring these people in?
Well, when you're a small company, and I was a D1 athlete myself, everybody I would ask to come and help me out on a move would be a friend from the sports. And if I booked a job, say 2 or 3 weeks out, I'd call a friend and say, can you help me on this day? And they might put it on their calendar and tell wherever they were working, I want that day off. And if they couldn't do it, I'd go to the next guy. And I had a long list of those kind of people. And they were all athletes, and a lot of people would come in the door because somebody else had told them about it. And when we would go out and work, we would run. That's the only thing we knew how to do. We would really have a massive workout as well as a move. They loved it, and they enjoyed it, and they would tell their friends, and we ended up with people that went on to win Olympic medals even.
Really?
Right.
Wow.
We had top end, those kind of people. And one of the funniest complaints I ever got from a customer was about a wonderful kid who was given it his everything. And the customer called to complain and said 2 of the movers were racing up and down the stairs. And this guy was huffing and puffing and sweating and leaning against the wall. And these guys had just come back from the Olympics. I mean, hello. And that's the only time I've ever heard of anybody complaining about a worker who's killing himself trying to do a good job because, he's getting the wallpaper damp or something. Because they're comparing him to these other 2 guys. But anyway,
That's funny. You must obviously have so many experiences and stories to share. What was one of the big growing pains that you had starting off? And also, what was like a funny moment that you transpired going like, oh, like it was like a really funny story to do with it in the beginning stages?
Well, I'm Irish, and those stories come up unexpectedly. To try and think about them off the spur of the moment is hard.
Of course.
Yeah, but let me think. God, it was like a dream. I mean, the whole thing was so wonderful from start to finish. I mean, the phone was ringing off the hook. For me to think about difficulties back in those days, I mean, we made the Inc. 500, and I would say that we're probably, in all likelihood, the only company that ever made the Inc. 500 where we had no advertising. We had our name, General Giant. We didn't have a brand. The guys showed up in whatever they were wearing. And I might have to tell somebody, listen, you need a pair of sneakers. I don't want you working in sandals. Or would you mind turning that T-shirt inside out? I don't want the customers seeing that. But that was it. But it didn't make a difference to the customer. They talked about General Giant. And it didn't matter what we were dressed in at the time. They talked about us like as if we were a brand, even though we were just a bunch of guys in whatever we happened to be wearing that day. But the service delivery was identical in every instance, so people recognized it. This is what the Giants look like, and that was it.
Moving companies, you know referrals are the best leads, right? But communicating with customers, tracking progress, managing payouts, it's just overwhelming. That's why at Snowball, we do it all for you. And we're really good at it. In fact, in just a few months, the Snowball platform helped JK Moving generate over $200K in new revenue. We even helped New City Moving book 30 moves in a single month. If you have happy customers, we can get you referrals. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get the first 2 months on us.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
For all of the different locations that you have, these aren't franchises. So what was the structure and plan that you put in place to make sure that at each location had the right type of management and it was going to be ran the same way it would be at head office?
Well, first of all, every single office we've got is run by somebody who started out on the trucks, came up through our culture, and understood it with a passion. And so they weren't going to accept anything less in their own office than what we had up in Boston.
And do they get like a share equity, or do they get kind of some type of percentage, you know, what they bring in that location?
Well, we do a profit sharing system where if we do well, they make something extra. But we take care of people. People say they talk about money, but at the end of the day, the thing people want more than anything is nice people to work with. And if they enjoy what they're doing, so long as they're making enough to take care of their family and have a good life, we haven't had that much problem with turnover.
And a lot of times it goes to the saying that, you know, you're at your work more than you are at home.
Right.
So it's your work family, as they say, right? So
right.
you want to have people that you like hanging out with, you know. I mean, then again, in your families, you're like, I don't really want to hang out with that aunt or that uncle, right? So you're like, all right, let's take a step away.
Well, you know, with moving, a lot of people are just in it for a temporary amount of time.
Right.
Those people obviously are going to move on to whatever when they finish their degree or whatever. But you don't want to lose the other people, and those are the ones we've held on to.
So one of the big questions I've asked to everybody is, especially being in the industry for as long as you have been, what are some of the 5 tips that you wish somebody would have told you getting into the moving business that you could share with them now, saying, okay, great, you know what, you got your one truck, you're a year into the business, here's my 5 ideal tips to kind of share with you?
Well, when I told my grandfather on his 100th birthday that I was starting a moving company, he said, well, the most important thing you're going to do is the first person you hire, because you have to set a very high standard for that person, and then everybody else that comes in after that has to meet that same standard. And that was a great feeling because I had that person already. And he's still with me today. He's been with me for 44 years, but it's probably 40 years since I had that conversation with my grandfather. So that's number one. You start with a really high standard. Because what my grandfather said to me, if you piss in your soup, you'll not get it out. So you get that. You're not going to get piss out of soup. So when you hire the wrong people, it's a massive job to clean it up.
Right.
They damage the culture. It's toxic. And some people are several years past it where they should have done it. And now you're trying to fix things. And you have people there that are bad habits. Back in those days when I would call to other molders at our level, those people were often brother-in-law or a neighbor or a kid they grew up with, and they couldn't get rude because of that.
Hi everyone, it's your favorite mover, Austin Yarbrough, and welcome to my school. The school is named Moving Army because it's inspired by Andy Elliott's team, and we've got some amazing changes coming for the moving industry, and I can't wait to work with you. In this school, we will be doing a 100-day fitness challenge.
Wow.
So what this means is we are going to be working out for 45 minutes minimum physical activity for 100 straight days. Stay tuned for more information and let's get moving.
Did you have any brothers and sisters? Like, was there anybody in your family that ever came into the moving business with you?
Well, my sister just retired. She's been in sales. Totally great. 38 years. Just a child. Yeah, so she worked with me all those years. But over the years, I've had over 40 relatives who were really good. A lot of them were...
How many have you fired?
Nobody... Oh, no, because, a lot of my before cousins in Ireland have been over. And I even have cousins, Berkey, for the up in Molus. He's, when I taught BA. So it's been a lot of family, but nobody that spent best of those. Oh, and I had this sister who, got drummed out of science because she threw the whistle on some fraud. Jeez. And there was lies out there and Weir was destroyed. So she came into sales with me for a couple of years. But then the truth came out. She got her career back and she had a fabulous career. She's just retired footlizer recently. So that's my other sister. But,
So she was the Pfizer wrestler.
like it's a famous case. She went for me for 4 years.
So, sorry, cut you off at our questions. You did ask a 5, and I think you gave me 1 about the Olympics. So we went on a tangent.
Yeah, right. Sorry about that.
No, that's my fault too.
By the way, I never told in last, but I did realize as the Japanese rule that I have to find the coast. The way we did it was we got everybody to write out what they saw for the 5 pronouns that define our culture. This what everybody had it different list. So that was drivers at officer plate. Oh yeah, everybody. I did be, and we narrowed it down to 20 eyes and then kind of to what authority, honesty, enthusiasm, above and beyond, respect, DI. The reason I'm saying this is importance is it's never too early to do that. And having core values that you expect everybody that works for you to lead them and to emphasize it to them that we're always, going to be honest. We're never, and employees notice. Like if a customer overpays, then you keep the money because they'll never know you. Well, so they're going to see that. So, so they're proud to work for a company that does things right. Here it is. So I think getting core values to another sort of spirit. What do you think? Was asked, it's something I've heard. And I would say as a business owner, they're always telling people what's the take. A lot of people going to go away, tap over you ask. But even good people will not, they'll think they're doing what you asked to do, but it really isn't exactly what you asked them to do. Even you say, you know what you said, you've heard it, but you don't know what they actually heard. So it's like I students when I was you that it was just hushed that there's always double check with people that they understand exactly what's expected. And the last bit repeat that is okay, let's phone this flag. What are we supposed to do? Tell me how you're going to attack us. And then when they tell you, you say, oh, wait, you didn't hear me properly. You don't like it. So it makes a huge difference because Spindle Stacy and I know they talked about it here a lot. You know, get a foot on it where you want to go, because there's a lot of people here today. They want to argue, row, sure. But see, that's not for today. And I think you will be very successful and make a lot of money if you stay small, because you can build a reputation, get loyal customers, and have a really good margin. And when you grow, you build a huge infrastructure. It's quite expensive, and if you hit a downturn, you could be tummy. So, decide whether you want to second act or not.
So, the right in the middle, Jack, Larry, I don't know, Kike, but that's okay. I don't want to dive into third option. You were talking about growth. You were saying, because to hear everybody just wants to jump ship. So you either want to grow really big, and you're saying it's even beneficial when you stay small, and focus on, you the hometown dominated. I was just saying. Hey, shit, and that's what we did my biggest struggle. My wife always says, she's like, don't hire anybody. I was like, watch it. You're the worst hire. She said, because you always hire with your heart. You're not looking at, like, are they someone? You're looking at, like, oh, this person's great. I love their attitude. They're so fantastic. And then you hire them, and they end up just kind of shitting the death. I think that also falls into, that's fine to hire any, when you maybe use your heart at somebody who's in a good, but then you don't actually have the systems, the processes, and the training afterwards to go through that. You know, that also can end up being a big fail. The loss of potential of that task. If they were guided in the right direction, it's the organization, as opposed to, hey, here you go, here's a computer, you know, here's the phone, here's like a one-step dialogue, and way you go. Now, let's switch on did you mention the size that you're at? 60 company and having good management, executive team and board on your plate. When you get to that size for yourself, I'm gonna want to make you know, 11 growing it up. And if you'd ever be very, looks to me like you gotta do not. So it's always the running the big full access on great tactical as the cities, but you're coming in branded gears. What is what you suggest to people is that growing ability the economy, making money, they say, oh, I want to buy the shining objects. Are you someone that said, oh, I like this, I doubt you're going to say politician, eating your pup. But were you someone that would recommend getting into the commercial real estate or entry real estate? What were some of the investment items that you chose to do this year with Tony Boy success? So, again, when you're buying the city, I'd always tell people, okay, add your holding company or LLC company that owns the movie company and everything out, and then see you have your own storage campus. You're saying, don't, fancy storage area, those investments as separate shit.